Hello and welcome to the Walk and Love podcast. I'm T.J.
I did it again.
You did it again.
Okay, start over. Go ahead.
Hello and welcome to the Walk and Love podcast. I'm T.J.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we're going to talk about tennis.
Welcome to the Walk and Love podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. Our podcast.
I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the Walk and Love podcast. We're here. I think I just get so nervous that I'm going to miss my thing. It's like when you're like waiting for somebody to introduce themselves and you're like, but you're not listening to them say their name because you're thinking about, I got to say my name. Don't forget your own name. Okay. The Walk and Love podcast is a weekly conversation between TJ and I about emotions, rhythms, marriage, parenting, faith, apparently tennis. It's a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a full life. So if you like your listening to line up with your living, then you are in the right place.
It's a good line.
I want like some sparkles or like jingle bells to like happen after I say that.
Let me see if I have anything. Let me look.
I don't think you have any jingle bells.
Here, try the line. Let's just try out a couple of
Okay,
ideas.
so if you like your listening to line up with your living, then you are in the right place. Yeah.
Okay, try it again.
That's more like if you don't line it up.
Yeah, okay. All right, ready?
Okay. So if you like your listening to line up with your living, you are in the right place.
Holy Spirit, activate, activate, activate. All right, let's go.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I can try a few more if you want it.
That's okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right. Thank
here we
you.
are.
Thank you for shopping the Seek Rest collection. 2 words.
I woke up to a text today that says, how many people have made jokes about Ryan Seacrest? And I said, many.
Many.
And then responded to a DM that was like, I didn't have the audio on. I was just reading and I had to go back. Like I was on a stories. Yeah. I was like, well, our love for Ryan
I even corrected the one today.
Runs
and
deep.
Still, yeah, we're big Seacrest fans.
Also sea crust, which is what my story said.
Nice.
Like from the bottom of the ocean floor.
Yeah. So from the sea crust of the ocean floor to the top of our hearts, we are thankful for you for shopping the Seacrest collection. And
I can't not hear it.
Some of you already have your items. So
wow.
What we did is we order a small run of everything so that we can have things to photograph, so that in theory we could send it to influencers. That did not happen this time. And so
it's like our sample order.
Yeah, it's our sample order, but they're not sample. Some people are like, oh, are they samples? Like they're not good.
No, it's just that's what we call it.
We call it, but it's just the same as anything that we then produce.
Yeah.
And so what we did this time was for the orders that we could fulfill, we just sent them out. So people
if you ordered first, like probably within the subscriber 24 hours.
And if you didn't order like an extra small, because we don't get samples in that, or 2X or above,
right?
We don't.
You may have already gotten it.
You may have already gotten it, which is really cool. So thank you for shopping the collection, and we're just always eternally grateful for that because we wouldn't be able to make a living without it. And we're grateful for you, the podcast audience, and just super humbled that you guys choose to spend your hard-earned money with us, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember clearly the conversations years ago of like when we weren't doing this full time, this was not how we made most of our money. And it was instead we were doing weddings still and we were doing some other things. And it was like, what would it even look like for us to try to run after and pursue Walk in Love as like the actual thing that is our business?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are.
I mean, we've been here for a while. I don't mean like we've just arrived. Like we did that pretty quickly, but like that's crazy.
Crazy.
I mean, not quickly, I guess, in terms of all of Walk in Love.
At all.
Not at all. I meant from conversation. Actually, we can tie that into our topic today.
Right.
From conversation had to, hey, let's make it happen.
Or,
I
hey,
feel like we ran after that quickly with tennis rackets.
Yeah. After doing it slowly.
After slow times. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, I'm
well
going to read a review.
Brooke. Well said.
Thanks. I'm just going to read somebody else's words now. Okay. This review, 5 stars. We need another. We need a like 5 dinging sounds for like every star.
Okay.
You don't have sound effects, baby. You
I
just
do.
have clips.
I do.
I don't think you do.
Let me try this one.
Okay. 5 stars.
I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm a loser.
Nope.
A loser.
Okay, titled Leave the 99. This podcast is truly amazing. I am a husband and a father, and TJ and Brooke are so impactful on my marriage and being a dad. The reason I titled this review the way that I did is that TJ is unintentionally, possibly intentionally, I'm not sure, living a ministry of leaving the 99. Most of the listeners of this podcast are women, such as my wife, but he continues to pour his love and wisdom out every week for husbands and fathers, even while knowing it may only reach a few of the men. Let me tell you, I am impacted every week by applicable advice on how to improve my family dynamic. Thanks for all you guys do. From all your butt clenching, laughter endured, flatulence podcast listeners. P.S. Like half of my closet is Walk in Love shirts because they have some of the coolest designs and their clothes are so comfortable.
Wow, that's really kind.
So,
brought a little tears to my eyes. Tear balls.
Tear balls.
Got some tear balls up in here.
Up in here. Up in here.
I don't have that sound.
Oh, come on. What are we even doing? Why
What
do
are
we
we
even have a podcast if we don't have that on our soundboard?
I've never even thought about putting songs in there.
Oh, come on. Well, it'd have to be so short, right?
Yeah, it would have to be short.
So that it doesn't get
like flagged.
flag a ding dong. That's what I almost just said because my brain is.
You almost did, and then you did.
I did. Well, I did say it, but that's what my brain was thinking about because I suddenly cannot remember how to get to my history. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh, we're doing Google searches?
My Google search history.
All right, I'll let you start.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
With context or without context?
I think it's up to you.
So here's a strong.
No, hold on.
Can I give a strong feeling?
But can I answer your question?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Okay.
If you feel like you want to give context because it helps like talk about our week and kind of what's going on, sure. If you just want to leave it there hanging, go for it.
Okay. Here's a strong. Can I give a strong feeling
sure.
real quick? We have a Safeway grocery store near us, and the other day you needed something odd.
Yes.
And I said, let me check the app before we go over there to see if they have it.
What was it?
Something for our ice cream maker, I think.
Oh, a little while ago.
Yeah.
When I thought I needed the vanilla.
And so I
bean
downloaded
paste.
the app. I looked for it, just to see if it was there before I wasted the time going there.
Yeah.
And now the app is on my phone.
Yeah.
SAF. There's another app on my phone that I use quite regularly that starts with SAF.
What?
Safari.
Oh.
And so now every time I type in SAF.
Oh, you mean you're searching it?
Yeah.
I thought that was like the logo label on the icon.
I click it, I type it, and Safari's not showing first. The Safeway app is showing first.
Yes.
Now I open the Safeway app a few times a day, and
so you're feeding that algorithm.
so irritated every time.
They're like, man, he just keeps opening this. I'm going to keep feeding it in first place.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Hit me with your best
I think you might have picked up my phone. Do I sprout lemon seeds in the light?
That was me. Yeah. Lemon Grove. TJ's update for TJ's bigmelons.com.
I forgot about that.
They are still we got no melons yet.
No melons.
I'm a melonless man.
Yeah. They're coming though. You just wait.
They're coming.
The seedlings are only about maybe 2 inches tall. But any day now,
I think a watermelon
we're gonna get a lemon
start to sprout, or a lemon.
Yeah. Lego Masters Season 2.
Our lawn guy is here a day early mowing our yard.
Oh,
so
yeah, I
if
didn't
you
think
can
about
hear that,
I doubt it.
apologize.
It's okay. We love Eli. How to clean out tub jets. So apparently we have, apparently that's what we need, the apparently kid.
Apparently.
No, the tub in our master bathroom has jets. We've lived on the island almost 2 years, in this house about 1.5 years, and I've never taken the time to clean them. So I've never let the girls turn them on.
Right.
We have since done all the steps to clean them. They're great. And the girls are very into taking
it.
tubs. The mermaids are swirling. Things are happening. Pirate ships are happening. They're jumping overboard because of the swirlicane of water tub jets.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, like, we didn't have a jet tub growing up, but my uncle did. And so when we would go visit,
the dream.
It was the dream. I remember getting in it with so much bubble bath that I'm sure was full of horrible things for me. But so I keep telling the girls, I got to get you a nice bubble bath. So, because it's so fun when you have the jet level bubbles. What are you smoking at? You ready
Just
for yours?
some of my Google searches.
All right, hit me.
Okay. The first one, Ezra Miller kidnapped. So I went to the movies to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And the Flash trailer played. And I leaned over to Ian and I was like, hey, have you ever heard about this guy? And
Yeah.
Ezra Miller's like
Ezra Miller is the guy the actor who plays the Flash.
he's a creep.
In the videos.
He's like,
He's next level weirdo.
and so Ian texted me
Hollywood
yesterday.
weirdo.
Yeah. Unlike everybody else in Hollywood who's like totally
Super
normal
normal.
and down to earth and not,
Here's the thing. I do think that those people exist. I
Yeah.
think that they are super rare.
Yeah.
And it's why whenever that does happen, it kind of gets talked about.
like I think Keanu Reeves is one of those guys. I think he's like saved almost all of his money and like kind of lives humbly. I think I've
Kind of
read
drives
sto-
like a junk car.
Yeah.
Used to a long time ago. I don't know. But
And so I gotta believe that Chris Pratt's one of those guys.
I hope.
I hope.
I don't think I don't know about he's saving all his money, but
Yeah.
like I do hope and believe that some people
Don't get sucked into the depths of darkness that
Yes.
is Hollywood,
Yes.
to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Swallowed whole.
Ian swallowed whole.
Melons and all. down,
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 down.
So Ian texted me that I was like, "Who is the guy that you were telling me about?" And so that's why I Googled it to send him a screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that one of the pitch meetings for the Harry Potter movies,
The newer Harry Potter.
Dumbledore
Not
ones.
Harry Potter,
No.
the newer series.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
At the end of it, he's like,
Good thing we distance ourselves from Johnny Depp.
Johnny
or
Depp,
something.
yeah, because of all that's going on. Johnny Depp has since been exonerated, but then there's always like a news story that flashes up when he finishes the pitch meetings.
Yeah.
And it was like
prove it
Ezra
wrong.
Miller arrested on the run in Oahu. Like he was hiding on Oahu.
He was
It's a
hiding
whole
on an island.
Yeah, whole story.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's not on the internet as much as it used to be.
No.
It's been scrub-a-dub-dubbed.
You're going really hard for the dubba-dubs, the
Okay.
ding-dongs.
I'm into it. Earthworms. Earthworms. Googled that 3 times. Lemon pasta. Couldn't find what I needed. Refound it. This is how we do it meme because I needed to show Bianca. I said, I just want you to see something that has made me laugh at least once a day for 2 weeks straight now. And so I showed her because I'd never seen it before. I don't know if it's old or new, but do you not remember?
I don't know which
The
one.
picture of the guy? I'm going to click it right now. This is
This is how we do it. Yeah, with a screen
With this, like-
his name is Howie.
Howie and his last name is
DEWI.
Just Google
Yeah.
"This is how we do it" meme, and I really think that it's going to be worth all of your time and energy.
All right, here's one for mine. Best place to live in South Dakota.
Okay,
Do you want context?
you found out.
I saw a list of the most expensive states where your dollar goes
States.
the furthest and all the way down to states where your dollar doesn't go very far, at all. We live in that state.
Yeah.
Hawaii is the state that costs the most. Like $100 is worth like $82 in Hawaii or something like that.
Yeah,
And then I think
Sweet.
Yeah, it's fun.
sea crust.
It's is it worth it though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I gotta say yes. And then at the other side of that list is South Dakota, and I was like, what if we? So I went down this rabbit hole.
You did.
What if we?
What if we suddenly became farmers and had all these skills that we don't have?
You can
Let's
learn
ignore
anything.
my allergies.
You
They
can
don't
have-
exist anymore. Apparently,
If you have passion, you can learn anything.
I believe that.
And so, what if we split
This
our
was
time?
a totally hypothetical conversation, mind you. But go ahead.
That's what you think.
Okay.
What if we split our time?
You already made an offer.
Surprise, Brooke.
I bought a 5-acre
Bought a
farm in
place.
South Dakota.
What if we near that tower that you just posted that video
Oh
of?
gosh. Can't even.
What if we spent our time, half our time in Hawaii, and then to balance that out, we spent our time in South Dakota, and then our $100 would probably end up being worth $100.
Except that we then have 2 properties we're paying for, so it doesn't at all.
Semantics.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't add up. That doesn't matter. We could grow so many melons there.
So many melons.
TJ's
Big
Maui
melon.
melons, except that they're in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And people would be like, I don't get
the
it. Are
seedlings
these,
start in Maui, and then they journey with me to South
You
Dakota.
can't do
I
that.
sneak them through
it's illegal, babe.
and
The agriculture guys will get you.
get you.
Okay. Bed canopy tent. Not for us, for the girls. They make them for beds that big. And I'm like, who is sleeping? If I'm not like walking off of a yacht into some like amazing resort on the side of somewhere, I don't want a canopy over my grown-up bed. No, thank you.
Okay, ready?
How much caffeine is 35 mg? I was trying to figure out a tea that I was buying and how it compared to coffee. How to check Chipotle gift card amount. Okay, next you. Your turn.
Kahalui to South Dakota. I needed to know what airport we were going to fly into to
smart.
make the appropriate land purchasing decision.
Very smart.
We're going to get like 6 messages from the 2 people that live in South Dakota.
Yeah,
and
they're each going to send 3 messages.
3 messages each. Come move here.
Bring your melons.
This is where I live. Here's a farm for sale near me.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. What is a mezzanine?
No one knows.
Do you know?
It's like a lobby area.
No.
It's like a above ground lobby area.
No.
It's like a way above ground lobby area.
Well, here's the thing.
It's a roof?
I needed to know what it was in regards to a theater because of the mezzanine tickets.
Oh, it's the seats up here.
No. It's the seats in between.
In between, yeah.
So when it's like, which I was like, my brain knew, like, and I could tell by the map that I was looking at where the seats were. I understood what was happening, but I didn't really know how to explain it to June. Anyway, it's like the in-between level. When it's like you're not all the way up top, but you're not all the way down front. But because they slope the theater so heavily, and you're kind of like back underneath the up top level, which I can't think of right now. The balcony.
It's called the up top.
The up top level balcony. You're like in or under. You're in the mezzanine. I don't know. I still don't really know.
Okay.
Something about that.
All right. I'm going to hit you with some real quick. Lego Masters Season 3 contestants. Patrick Rothfuss, The Door of Stone release date, which I'm convinced will never come out. Brandon Sanderson, I was guess going down a fantasy author road. And then here's an interesting one. Okay, let me find it. C.S. Lewis homemaker quote, which I'm going to search again because I love this quote from C.S. Lewis. The homemaker has the ultimate career. All other careers exist for one purpose only, and that is to support the ultimate career.
Jeez.
I'm done.
Jeez. Can I read this one or no? Or are we not going there?
I don't think we're going there today.
So how do I know what type of tile my floor is? I was trying to figure out because I want to paint part of our tile floors.
Well, do you really want to take time to do that with us moving?
We're not moving to South Dakota. Oh my word. How do kiwis grow? I think you were on my phone. Okay.
I was, yeah. The girls asked how they grew, so I was looking it up.
I accidentally clicked Alan Rickman because he was like the Google of the day thing, and I didn't mean to click him, but I clicked him, and so now it looks like I Googled him, but I didn't Google him.
Okay. False Google.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much what's been going on in my world.
Our lives.
Yeah.
How was your week? That's what I just told you. This is what I Googled.
Do I need to prime plywood to paint it? How many words on average for an 18-month-old?
How many words does Daisy have?
She's just fine. I wasn't actually worried. I didn't know the answer, and so I Googled it.
And we counted
It's a
them all.
wide range of the Google answers.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like at least 10 to 20. And I'm like, yikes. Okay. So that's on like the at least side.
Yeah.
And then there was some of them that were like, I don't know, 50 to 200. And I was like, oh, wow. That's a really wide range.
Cool.
But we had fun writing down all of our words the other night.
Yeah,
the bigger girls really enjoyed it.
We're very into it.
And now that whenever she says a different word, write it down.
Write it down.
Did you write it down? I'm like, I did write it down.
Move.
It's going to be okay.
Okay. You
So
want to get into it?
This is how we do it.
I don't have that sound either.
Okay. But I picture that man now in my head every time.
A couple of things that are just before we get into the topic du jour.
We'll have the soup
what's
du
the
jour?
soup of du jour? That's the soup of the day. I'll have that. That sounds lovely.
Sorry, I sidetracked you.
That's very good. Tea of the month will come out on the 1st or the day before to subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And the event is there's still tickets for the event.
It's still happening.
Still happening.
No, of course.
Very excited for that.
Yeah.
Excited we got through the collection, not got through, like, we did our job for the collection.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited to kind of
We are through. Yeah.
lock in on that as the next big project.
Yes. Can we give away that thing I decided I wanted to give away
What did you want to give away?
in relation to
What is it? Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
how do we do it though? How do we?
I don't know. Maybe we should think about it more before we do that.
I was going to give it away right now, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah,
How
no
do I
one's
keep
here.
track?
It's just me and you. Do you want to give it to me?
No.
Okay.
Because I need you to be there.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We're going to circle back to that.
False alarm. The other thing is we already have designs to vote on for the fall collection. So if you go to the show notes, you go click, 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 which I do have, but the sound, I'm not as fast.
I go online, I go click, click, click.
Because you have to shuffle around.
Yeah. and you can vote on what you want to see as the fall collection, which is coming out in late August.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Now, to the topic at hand. Tennis
balls.
Oh, wow.
Well, I guess you have a ball when you're playing, right?
I have a couple balls while I play.
Okay. We were having a separate conversation about something else that led into this tennis conversation, which is funny. But I strongly feel like it could be connected to or sort of coming off of the heels of the sprint that we were talking about last week, and sort of how helpful it is to just name it as such, just so that everybody feels like they're on the same page. You sort of know what you're running after, blah, blah, blah. So hit me with your tennis knowledge, TJ. College graduate. Tennis college graduate.
I did take a class in college called tennis, where you learn how to play tennis. So
were you just trying to graduate? Like,
well, here's
why?
what happened. So my last semester, I needed one class to like solidify the ability to graduate.
Okay.
I needed like a certain
very specific class.
type of film class to get my film degree. I had all other
boxes were checked.
All other boxes were checked. But I also needed 15 credits. So I needed that class, which I think was like 3 credits or whatever,
Something.
5, whatever, I don't remember. And then I needed to get 10
you
more.
just needed to get credits.
And so while most people might think, okay, well, maybe I'll learn like something new. No, I actually did that. I did decide to learn something new. I just decided I didn't want to use my brain at all for any of the other classes.
Love it.
So I took there's like some film theory class. And then I took tennis, volleyball, badminton, and a class called adventure climbing.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I got a straight A's.
A's.
I was thriving.
You're incredible.
And so I played tennis. So I'm a college graduate with some tennis credits.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That was years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Other than if you give me a tennis racket, I can hit the ball.
Yeah. I think I could.
Yeah.
I couldn't, probably high school.
I am very excited, tangent from tennis, for the Bethke pickleball court.
Yes.
On top
been
of
installed.
Mount Haleakala. I'm very excited. Anyways.
Yeah.
So if you're a tennis player, and
bear with us.
Bear with me as I
keep your racket to yourself and just
brutalize the
how it actually works.
Verbiage of your sport.
Okay.
Just want you to get ready for that. If you're a tennis player in South Dakota, maybe just message me what club you're a part of.
Yeah.
And so what town that's in, and if there's any farms for sale nearby. And I'll go click, click, click. And
smart. Send you some melon seeds. Get started. We haven't
Yeah.
even bought the property yet. My friend said I'm supposed to plant these here. They are coming.
If you plant them, they will come.
You can't be on our property, sir. He said I could be.
But I'm the one male listener, and
Yes,
he gave
and
me
I
this
will
job.
be here.
Anyway, so we were talking about. I feel like to have this conversation, I'm going to use one example.
Okay.
I think we'll jump into other examples, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to use the homeschool example.
Okay.
Because I think that's a conversation that a lot of people have of like,
Yeah.
especially now, especially people our age, especially where culture is heading,
Yeah.
and what public schooling looks like, and
Right.
the teachers you see on TikTok. It's just like, I don't want my kids to go there.
I'm not on TikTok. I can't handle it.
Yeah, but I
No.
either am I, but I see it like I see them on YouTube. I see people talking about
Yes.
some of these like crazed public school teachers.
Yeah.
And not to say all public school teachers are bad.
Correct.
I'm sure there
Of
are
course not.
some great ones out there.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
Probably where they
Great schools. Great schools in the old SD. And so
Sure.
I think
lean into the homeschool conversation for the sake of this, having an
this
example.
example.
Sure.
Because I think you can take this language that we're going to use today and talk about and
Plug it
apply
in
it
anywhere.
to maybe you're looking for a new job. Maybe you're thinking about moving from Hawaii to South Dakota or South Dakota to Hawaii. Maybe you're trying to think
Like, am I going to start a garden? Am I going to plant my melons or not?
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you're in ministry, like, am I going to go plant a church here? There's a million different ways we can talk about this.
Yeah.
I think fitness is always one that's in there, finances, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So for the sake of the conversation, let's say you and your spouse are thinking, hey, are we going to homeschool?
Right. Trying to
And
make the decision.
You're making the decision. And let's say for now, for the sake of argument, you don't homeschool. Your kids just go to regular public school.
Yeah.
And so this is my tennis analogy. There is like, if you want to play tennis and play it safe, you stand all the way in the back and you can return most balls. You have enough time to run and hit the ball back.
Right.
If you stand on the back line.
Because it has time to bounce on your side and you get to it. Because I don't even know what I was talking about, but you said something along the lines of using tennis. And I was like, well, I don't know. Why wouldn't I stand there? And then you led into this.
Yeah. And according to my college professor.
Wow. Wow.
Never thought I'd say that.
Nope. Not on a podcast.
There's an area on tennis where if you're like in the middle, not at the net, but not all the way in the back, you don't want to be there. It's basically where the ball's going to bounce, and it's super hard
to return
it because it's bouncing right at your feet, or it's like hasn't bounced quite yet.
You're too close or too far.
You're too close. And so what I feel like, and what the conversation that Brooke and I had was like, let's say you want to homeschool and you're like, okay, let's really like, I think we're going to do it. But you don't charge the net. You don't come up to the net to hit the homeschool ball and spike it down and say like, this is it. We're going to make this decision. You kind of like take a few like quick steps forward, and then you're like, oh wait, maybe we don't want to do that. And then but now you get stuck in this sort of no man's land of life. And I feel like the conversation that we were having was just like, I don't want to be in like the no man's land of life. And I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of time there. So it's instead of just
in the middle of your side of the tennis court.
In the middle of your side of the tennis court, trying to return balls, but really not giving yourself the best position or angle to do so.
Yeah.
And
so you probably feel like you're swinging and missing a lot.
Swinging and missing, or getting pelted by them, or just like, it's just not going well.
Yeah.
And so when we were talking about it, it was like, I think we just need to learn how to, like if I'm in the back and I'm playing it safe. And again, if you send your kids to public school or some other schooling
not
option,
the point of this
like I'm not saying you're playing it safe.
Yeah.
And if you homeschool your kids, I'm not saying you're playing it daring. Like I'm just using this as an example. But let's say that's your mindset. You're in the back and you're like, I feel like we're just doing what we were told to do because that's what we do. And I feel like that's a lot of the way we play from the back of the court.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is just how it's always been done, which isn't really totally true. It's more of a Western experiment that we're undertaking.
Yeah.
So I'll just do it that way. And when we start to put thought into it, we think, okay, wait.
Or maybe there's more people in the back.
Yeah. Like if this is how it's always done, and culture is sort of digressing into the depths of the
deep darkness of Hollywood.
The deep darkness of Hollywood. Why would I want to keep doing it like everyone's doing it?
Right.
And so we think, hey, I'm going to think differently. I'm going to be part of a conspiracy. I'm going to have an outline for the way I want to live my life. I'm going to do family differently. I'm going to do marriage differently. And by doing them differently, I'm going to kind of revert to some ancient ways and ancient practices that have been tested time and time again to work. And so we think that, and then we're like, so I got to charge the net.
Right.
And then you take 2 steps forward and you realize you're in the no man's land alone.
Yeah.
And you have a decision to make.
The balls are coming at you.
Balls are coming at you. Life is coming at you fast. You have a decision to make. You can keep charging, or you can back up and join the crowd, or join and play it safe again.
Yeah.
And I feel like what a lot of us do is like we try to have all of it. We try to both live in no man's land because we don't want to
thinking I'm fully going to be able to return something from the front by the net.
Yeah.
And I'm also not going to miss a single shot in the back. Watch me do it all.
Yeah. And it's just not going to happen. And so I think what I would encourage people today through this sort of language is like, what area of life are you in no man's land for?
Right.
What?
Because I don't think it has to be your whole life. I mean, I suppose it could be, but you and I literally don't even remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about a very specific scenario that we were using our tennis court for.
Yeah.
Not just like all of life, we're swirling in the middle. Because I don't feel that at all. It was specific to this one thing. And I was like, I have never thought about it like that.
Right. And so when I think about like how the conspiracies that you and I are a part of, and if you don't know, if this is your first episode,
you're like, these people are into conspiracies.
You might be all in on us then. But it's like, everyone's a part of a conspiracy. Like we do homeschooling. That's a conspiracy. Like we're conspiring together to believe that this way is better than another way.
Right.
Like if you own a farm in South Dakota, you're
like,
part of a
right.
conspiracy that like homesteading and farming is the way to go.
Okay. Wow.
If there's a ton of them, like CrossFit is a fitness conspiracy.
Yeah.
I believe that this is the best way to stay fit and healthy.
Yeah.
I'm part of a group that all
believes that.
all believe that. And so
Yeah.
we're all part of these conspiracies. So when we say that,
That's what we're talking
that's
about.
what we're talking about. And so when you're part of one of those, though, you are definitely standing out from the pack. You know, like if you, and it's crazy, like almost like what's wild now is that like as time and the internet has sort of like supercharged culture and in terms of like black and white, this and that, all this kind of stuff that's going on. To be a part of conspiracy, all you have to do is like think a normal thought of 10 years ago, which is
Right.
crazy. Like all you have to do is be like, there are only two genders. And now all of a sudden you're part of some crazed conspiracy. And so
Right.
you are now standing out from the crowd. Although for that one, I think most people are part of it.
Yeah.
But you're made to feel that you're now standing out from the crowd and you're in that no man's land. Or like we were talking about this yesterday, how like it's crazy to think that when people call dieting just eating natural whole foods.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh well, we eat pretty clean, and we eat or even having to call it that. I think most of us when we say we eat clean, it's a acknowledging of like a conscious like ingredient choice and like things like that,
Yeah.
and like that's why we clarify it as such.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like, oh, so you're dieting? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just eating real foods.
Yeah.
Like that is not.
And so there's all these
That's
crazy.
insane that
there's-
that's where we're at.
And that's where we are for a lot of things. And so it feels easy to be a part of a lot of conspiracies now. That's my point. That like we just like, if you're just like kind of a normal person with like general Judeo-Christian values, you're like all of a sudden like part of a ton of conspiracies that main culture thinks are evil or wrong or unacceptable or all this kind of stuff. And so I feel like what we're talking about here is we need to have the boldness and the drive or the focus or the guts or courage or whatever you want to call it to when we decide, hey, like specifically to homeschool, like I'm done with public school for my kids. I'm going to homeschool.
Right.
We need to decide I am going to step up. I'm going to move through no man's land
Because you have to move through it. Yeah.
and I'm going to charge the net.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us struggle to do that. And we hem and haw back and forth between no man's land and the back of the court, no man's land, the back of the court, no man's land, the back of the court.
Yeah.
And then 2, 3, 4 years go by and we're thinking, I still haven't, like, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I haven't moved. I haven't tried. 'Cause let's say you go to the front of the net and you're going to homeschool. You're going
Right.
to give it a shot. And it goes horribly wrong. Like your kids don't
Yeah,
like
just
it.
as
You
bad.
don't like it. It's just bad. You are getting pelted in the face with line drives at the net.
Yeah.
Then you just back right back up.
Yeah.
You know, I think we fear so much trying things in the name of like, well, what if it fails? Well, what if it fails? What if you get pelted by a tennis ball in the face? Your eye will heal.
Yeah.
Like
I had that happen with a racquetball on my neck.
your neck healed.
It looked like I had a hickey and I was so embarrassed because I was only 12. And so I didn't even really know what that
But
meant.
you're like, I know this means something.
And then I was like, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and again, we're just using homeschool as an example, but let's
Well, yeah, I could plug it into like me trying, because some of the example minus homeschooling, some of the examples or the context you were talking about, it was very like cultural feeling. And I think you could take all that aside and just like, you could just apply this to decision making and how like when I'm trying to make a decision to work out or not work out at 4:30 in the morning or whatever, for me, like I spend so much time in the middle land, not meaning that I'm halfway working out. I'm not halfway there. I'm living in the middle mentally and conversationally. I'm conversationally with you or whoever I'm verbally processing with in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and blah, 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 and I want the best of both worlds, and I want my cake and eat it too, and blah, 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 blah. And what if I swirl in that middle, never fully acknowledging or recognizing like, okay, I'm going to move up, I'm going to charge the net, and I'm going to make this decision because I'm confident and make it happen. Or, hey, I don't know if I'm in a season to charge the net right now at 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
So I'm going to be okay with backing up to the back of the court, returning, it's easier from there,
Yeah.
returning, living life, like all of that, knowing that like I just don't want to be there forever.
Right.
I still desire to push through no man's and into the charging the net.
Yeah.
But I think from a decision making standpoint, it was really clarifying for me to think about that visual of me kind of standing in the middle of that court, or my side of the court, physically standing there and picturing myself with the racket and how hard it is. I mean, I've played enough to know that it is so difficult to return anything from there. And so you do feel like you're kind of spinning in circles. You can't find the ball you're looking for.
Yeah.
Is it behind me? Is it in front of me? I missed it. I'm not good at this. I can't hit anything. Like, you can apply that to all that thinking. And then it's like, well, I don't think the decision you're trying to make is bad or anything. It's just that I think I end up feeling swirly in there because I'm not fully committing to deciding, or deciding I'm not deciding right now. Like kind of like when you don't make a decision, you are. Yeah. Like idea.
Yeah, 100%. And I do believe that some of you, like, again, I don't want to get too caught up on homeschool or on culture. Yeah. But some of you definitely have this like little twinge happening right now of that topic, whatever it is.
Insert said topic.
That's like job, finance, health, fitness, schooling, where to live, all this kind of stuff. And that maybe you're like Brooke and you're swirling around in that middle zone, which is like,
talking about it. I'll get one eventually. No, you won't. Not in the middle. You won't.
And it's and there's like grace to be given to someone who's there mentally. 100%. Like I try to be a good listener to Brooke, but there definitely come times in our marriage where I'm just like, babe, I can't have this conversation anymore. Like you either need to decide.
For the sake of you, we can't have it's not just like I can't have this conversation.
It's like you just need to decide one way or the other.
Yes.
And so like the fitness example is a great example. You've had 3 babies. You want to get in better shape. Like that's a goal of yours.
Yeah.
Now you can do it from the back of the court. Right. You can get in shape.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slower process. And there are going to be times where we're going to feel like nothing is happening. I'm just hitting the ball over and over and over again.
For the sake of it. Yeah.
Where if you charge the net and are more aggressive, which is basically what we're kind of saying, like you're more aggressive with the idea that you want to do, the mission that you want to accomplish, the goal you want to achieve. And
which again, I think then that's where it turns into a little bit of a sprint maybe.
Yeah.
Like acknowledging the time frame.
Right. Because like you can't play a whole game.
You can't live at the net forever.
No,
that's
you
not
can't.
what we're saying.
Yeah, you can't play a whole game of tennis at the net. They'll just hit it over you. And so there are like sort of seasonal types of things that we can incorporate into this analogy. But you decided, hey, I want to be more aggressive. I want this. What matters most right now is not just like, I might just be returning balls in terms of like how much laundry is getting done or how clean our house is or what we're cooking for dinner. But as far as fitness goes, I'm going to charge the net. I'm going to wake up at the butt crack of dawn and I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And so I think there are definitely areas of our lives where we're moving back and forth. And which
like a real game, right?
Yeah,
like a
100%,
real tennis game where you are actually moving up and down on your side of the court.
Like for us, business this year, it's like we had an aggressive plan of attack.
Yeah.
And like we were like, we got these projects that we want to do. We got a new website. We got some courses. Yeah. We got live events. Like we're going to aggressively attack, which we're calling like they're new products for us. Courses and live events are all new products for us.
Yeah.
And so like we're going to charge the net for that. And last week we talked about how we were charging the net for this sprint. We can't play there forever. We're going to play there a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it will line up for our trip back to the East Coast.
Yeah.
That we'll be able to like then kind of
step back,
move to the back and have a little bit more of like that breathing room comfortability in terms of like time and schedule and energy.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think it's a conversation worth having with your spouse. Where are you?
Where are we on the court
and
right
it's
now?
specifically
on this
like
said topic.
Yeah. And I mean, you could be there in all of life, I think, definitely. Like if you
that might be a more overwhelming conversation.
Yeah.
maybe have 50 tennis courts and think about all your different things separately.
Yeah. Because I think for various things, like, and what's cool is like, I'll use my fitness as an example. Over a year and a half ago, I decided, hey, I'm going to just do this CrossFit thing. This seems to be the thing that I could probably stick with the longest. It's varied. It's different every day.
Yeah.
The gym I go to, I like the time, all this kind of stuff. And so there was a few months there where I was charging the net for doing this type of workout. I had to like physically convince myself, like there's an app that you check your workout of the day in.
Yeah. For like what's coming the next morning.
For the first 6 months, I could not check that app.
Yeah.
Because it would have deterred me from going to the workout because I just like it's hard.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. And
so for 6 months, I charged the net and was like really pushing
blindly
to just be like, I just am going to show up.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same workouts. I'm going the same amount of time, but now it doesn't feel like I'm playing at the net.
No.
It feels like I'm playing in the back.
Yeah.
And so there does become a time where your charge and your push through no man's land to do hard things and to try new things and to do something difficult and all this stuff, as you stay consistent with it, it all of a sudden starts to feel like, oh, this is easy. I'm lobbing balls.
Yeah.
I'm just lobbing balls,
Just
babe.
lobbing them around.
So right now, charging the net with my garden.
Oh, wow. Your melon's right up front.
Melons are right up front.
Yeah.
Taking care of those things every day.
Wow.
Actually, that's not really that. That's kind of a bad example.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But like
Yeah.
we're going to switch the rooms around.
Yeah.
And so like we need to charge into that. And that'll be just for a short season where we're going to go through no man's land, which is going to feel like, chaotic a little bit with our house and stuff. But we're just going to keep charging, and then eventually we'll be done.
Yeah. And I think it can happen where if you feel like you're in that middle zone of your court and you're like, man, we have been here forever and we are just talking about this, probably positive, good conversations. I'm not saying those conversations are bad, but you're talking. It might feel like failure if you decide, okay, we're going to back up. We're not making this decision right now.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. If you're in that middle zone and you've spent a lot of time talking about charging the net, maybe you didn't have that language, but you're like, we've just been saying we're going to do this and this is what's going to happen and whatever. It's probably going to feel so uncomfortable if the decision you actually need to make in the end is, hey, we're not charging the net right now in this area. We need to just hang here.
Or let it go.
Or whatever. But like, I still think that having the conversation and talking about it with this sort of language is really, really helpful, because I don't think it's a total failure if you spend a bunch of time in the middle talking about it. And in the end, you decide, hey, we're not going to homeschool. We're not going to move. Or we're not going to quit our job. Or we're not going to, I don't know, whatever. Like it just, you then have that experience and the tennis language of talking about it in that conversation to move forward into whatever conversation it leads you to next in whatever area of life. Like, okay, so we decided we're not going to do this thing right now. We're not going to charge the net here. So the door will open for something else. And then you get to get right back into like, all right, are we jumping in the middle having these conversations and are we pushing all the way through, or are we hanging here because we're just going to lob them from the back right now?
Yeah.
Kind of safely, but with it in mind that like, hopefully we charge the net on one of these things someday.
And I would say, so for us in 2018, we played in the middle for basically the whole year, deciding what to do with Walk in Love.
Yeah.
We're going to
unknowingly.
Yeah. And a horrible year.
Yeah.
Just frustratingly bad in terms of just like emotions and connection and intimacy and just life. Like it was just a hard year for us. Yeah. And it was December, 16th or something like that. It was late in the year that we finally made
14th, 15th. Somewhere in there.
Finally made the decision.
Yeah.
To charge the net and be like, hey, we're going to lay this down and we're just going to.
Which is exactly, because you would think that laying a business down and stopping something would mean we backed up. And it wasn't. We charged the net to play from up there and laid it down.
And that was one of the most relieved moments of our lives.
That's why I cried so hard.
Yeah. And so I think the reason I'm saying that is because charging the net might seem like the hardest thing in your life. It might seem like this is a challenge that will break us, or that will just be too hard and too difficult. And honestly, I think that God's peace and his perfect peace comes through obedience. And that was the thing that we just kept saying, was like, people were like, how are you feeling? Like this huge decision. Yeah. And I was just like, honestly, I feel more peace than I've felt in 12 months.
Yeah.
And so you might feel like this is going to be the hardest thing, and you might instantly charge the net and be met with this perfect peace that surpasses all knowledge and understanding, because that's what happened to us. Or you might say, hey, let's back up and let's decide not to decide. Yeah. And that same peace could come. And so again, it's just an encouragement, as Brooke and I have had these conversations outside of the podcast, to bring them into the podcast and just say, hey, it's worth having these conversations. And it could be something small like fitness. I mean, fitness isn't small, but like, it's not life or death. It's not this huge, like, are we going to move or not? Or are we going to homeschool or not? It's just like, hey, how does my schedule orient around the way I want to take care of my body?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like, the stakes are high for that, I guess, with your body, but it's not in terms of like,
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, should we move to South Dakota? Like that, those
Right,
stakes become
right.
much higher and bigger.
Those stakes are huge.
Huge.
I mean, they have to be to support the melons and stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's a lot of
I'm all in
on the
on
melon
the
talk.
South Dakota character
Okay.
until I'm just,
Do they have an accent?
No, I don't think so. They're just
Kind of northern though. Do they have like the Michigan?
It's South Dakota, babe.
Okay. Well,
I'm not talking about no bullcrap North Dakota. Is there a feud?
Oh, I don't know. What's funny to me is that people who grew up here on the island have no idea where any states are
No.
mainland.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I know where it is, but like, can you explain where exactly Arizona is?
Yeah.
Literally, somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
Is it near Colorado? Does it touch Nevada?
Yeah.
Where? And I'm like, if I gave you a blank map, like the lines are drawn, you couldn't fill in half of it. Oh, no, I don't think I could. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
Just-
I don't
yeah.
know if I would. It might take me some time, but I
Did we just figure out our next Instagram video?
Oh heck yeah, I think I could. Equally hard is the game you play where you just have to write down all 50 states
Yeah.
in alphabetical order, and then you're like, how do I only have 41? What is happening? I don't understand.
Yeah. When we moved here and the guy was helping us unload our pod, he's like, where are you from? And I'm like, Pennsylvania. He's like, oh, right next to Washington, D.C. And I was like, well, I mean,
I guess in
they're
like the
in
big picture of the
same
world, sure.
sort of region, but
We're
I wouldn't say we're right next to
I mean,
them.
it's like a 2-hour drive
Yeah.
at least, maybe.
But
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah. So I think what I'd like to encourage you this week is to have those conversations about where you are. Are you playing in, and where you are in specific areas of life?
Yeah.
Because for example, Brooke and I aren't having these conversations about our ability to have conversations. Like we,
Right.
we know that we're well versed and well practiced in that area of life.
Yeah.
We aren't having these conversations about, having calm and gentle spirits towards each other.
Right.
We aren't having these conversations about our roles at work, although sometimes we do. There's some things that you can be
Yeah.
well established and well, like your muscle memory is very good at. And so I'm not saying like, are we charging the net in all conversations of life?
Right.
But there definitely is probably a tension point in your life or in your marriage or in wherever you are,
Yeah.
relationally or job or all this kind of stuff, that you need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Either with a spouse or with a friend or with someone, so that you can have clarity on, am I going to charge?
Yeah.
Am I going to just make the decision to charge and let the chips fall where they may, let the dominoes fall on the table?
Yeah.
Or am I going to back up
Yeah.
because it's just not the right season or time to charge? I don't feel peace about
Yeah.
charging in this area of life. I don't feel like the Lord has given me that peace, whatever it is. I just think that this week or today or tomorrow is like a good time to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because it definitely just helped us sort of figure out where we are. And then that conversation could kind of, the piggyback of that conversation could be what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm charging the net for homeschool, but it's about to be summer. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm just preparing? Does that mean I'm just researching? Does that
Yeah.
mean like, what does it mean? Or I'm charging the net for fitness.
Yeah.
Is that a season of a month? Is that a season of 3 months? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Or we're charging the net to save money to buy a house. What does that look like?
Yeah. Farms are more expensive, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not, but yeah.
Are we charging the net to have another baby? There's so many ways. And so just have these conversations, because as we get on the same page with each other, there's less tension, there's less frustration. There's more room for the Spirit of God to move and impact our lives, because
Yeah.
we aren't so hearts hardened.
Yeah.
We have these hearts of
Or
flesh,
fists
fists
so tight.
clenched. We're open palm towards life and the Lord to allow Him to move in our lives. And
Yeah.
so I think these conversations are worth having. One, because I think they'll give you a peace in your life. But two, I also think that this kind of stuff, when you talk about it, when you put it on the table, when you're open and honest and you feel your feelings, you have the ability to give it to God, and then you give God the ability to move in your lives.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see God move
Yeah.
in our lives. We want to see the Spirit of the Lord just come alive in our lives, in our households, in our relationships, in our marriages, in our friendships, in our churches. And so let's give Him that space to move so that we can see His glory.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my last thing is that that was excellent and so true, by the way, is that when I think about the little tennis court picture, in terms of decision making. And there's so much decision making in our lives. Like from what are we going to eat to dinner for dinner to, are we going to have another baby? Oh. Right. You know, big things on the table of life. It took the decision making process or whatever. And to me, it took it off of this to-do list that I just have a mental checkbox of, made that decision, and like I check it off, to a visual picture of what it looks and feels like to be in the decision-making process, and like how it is this ebb and flow until you make the decision to charge or back up. And it's not just this like, here's this long checkbox list of all these things I got to decide on. And it's this, that's so flat and like black and white, and
flat is a good definite description of it, because decision making is more.
That's a flat way to make decisions, or or not even to make them, to think about what it looks like and feels like in your life when you're trying to make one. Yeah. That it's not just this, let's talk about it till we can check off a box.
Right.
And if you picture yourself on that court and you're like, well, no wonder we're getting blasted, and we feel like we're swirly, we're here in the middle for so long.
And I do think, like, to your point you said earlier, that you spend a lot of time in the middle mentally. I think that's really, because I don't.
1,000%.
Because I don't.
I live there.
Yeah.
Not literally.
Because I don't. And so there are times where
you often have, which we used to talk about this so much more, about how like we take some sort of personality test or whatever on a scale of 1 to 10, and you're like 1, 1, 1, 10, 10, 2, 9, 1, 10. And I'm like, I don't know, 5, 6. Maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7. Literally, our numbers are like so different. So I think that's why it was so visually helpful to me. Because when I'm like, no wonder I feel so swirly about trying to make a decision about, I don't know.
South Dakota.
Sure. Let's pretend for a minute it's that. Like, no wonder, because I'm living there in that middle zone. And so I feel... It gives like this depth or this dynamic to the decision-making picture, instead of just, like I said, this, buy groceries, decide about South Dakota, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not the same.
Right.
And so I can't just move through my life trying to make bigger decisions, even smaller ones, but I think it's the bigger ones that I feel way swirlier about and stuck in the middle mentally and conversationally. So,
and I think what I've learned through this conversation from you, and I knew this about you, but it's helpful even for me to have sort of that visual that like you do spend a lot of time mentally in that middle zone. And so I at times can get frustrated by that and just want to push you to the front of the court or pull you back out.
Or you go to the back.
I'm just going to decide for you or whatever. And so as you have this conversation with your spouse, you probably might feel that. You might think, oh, well, I had no idea that you spend so much time there. Hopefully you do, but it definitely helps visually for me to then think, okay,
picture me standing on that side of my court.
She's there on the court, getting
pummeled, missing a bunch, swirling around. I can't find the one they just sent to me.
I can have a lot more grace towards you and patience towards you and love towards you as you sort of sit there.
Yeah.
And then I think what truly loving relationships do is they don't allow you to stay there.
Not for long.
Like I just can't. I don't want to see you get beat up like
blasted,
that. And so I'm going to say, hey, let's either attack and I'll attack with you, or we're going to pull back and we'll pull back together.
Yeah. Through conversations, we have that like, hey, what would it look like for you to charge it?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. It's good.
Do you think SouthDakotaTennisClub.com is taken, or do you think I should look for it?
TJ's tennis balls and melons, southdakota.gov/ join my team.
Oh, wow.
It's a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a conglomerate of things.
Listen, Jeff's on top. He drives a Corvette. Don't worry about Jeff. He sells calling cards. If he gets me to sell 3 calling cards.
It's a pyramid.
I got to make a call. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening and making us a part of your week.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Okay, I love you. Bye.